Merry meet and welcome. Welcome to the realms of mysticism, the occult, and magic, where your possibilities are only limited by your imagination. Welcome to the Witch's Cauldron and discover the knowledge you seek. Gather round the cauldron and even stay for a spell. Brightest blessings to you. Merry meet and welcome to the Witch's Cauldron. My name's Paula. Today's video is going to be on the full moon occurring on the 18th of March in Virgo, and the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere that will be occurring on March 20th, or the autumnal equinox occurring on March 21st if you're in New Zealand and Australia. I'm not sure about when I think it may be in some parts of Africa be on the 20th. So I'm going to give times that also equate to Greenwich Mean Time or UK time, and give you times from Australia so you can kind of figure out where you are and better plan your rituals. We've got a lot of stuff going on, energetically speaking. So I'm going to talk about the situation with Russia and Ukraine in a separate video. I'm also going to be doing a separate video about where the hell I've been for the last couple of months. And I just want to say thank you guys for sticking in with me. I know it's been a while since I published a video, but stuff happened. And I'll address that in a separate video. Leading up to the full moon, we have a lot of stuff going on. We still have Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. We have a triple conjunction between Venus, Mars, and Pluto. Now, this is particularly important because if this falls in your 5th or 7th houses that involve relationships, it could indicate a new relationship coming that is almost destined or fated to be. Or it could be indicative of a relationship you might need to let go because it's feeling very controlling and you're almost like choking and chafing at the bit. This conjunction will occur again in July and December, okay? Now, remember that we started the U.S. natal Pluto return on the 22nd of February. I have a separate video on that. If you hear weird noises going on in the background, that would be my little blind pup, Daphne. She woke up and decided to start chewing on a bone, so y'all got to deal with the crunching in the background. I'm sorry, but, you know, she had a seizure at 4 a.m. this morning. She's prone to seizures along with being blind. And if she wants to feel like playing now, then I'm not going to yell at her for making noise in the background for the sake of a video. Now, remember that Venus is the ruler of Taurus. The North Node is in Taurus. Scorpio is in the South Node. And Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. Now, with these coming together with Pluto, this puts an even bigger magnifying glass on finances, banking, wealth, currencies, Mother Earth, food supplies, your resources, being able to keep a roof over your head, agriculture, natural resources, and your sense of safety and security. Remember, your house is your castle. That should be your sanctuary and your safe place, right? And Scorpio is also linked to wealth in the form of investments, loans, mortgages, and debt in taxes. Pluto is its modern ruler, and Pluto is affiliated with taxes, and it's also affiliated with secrets around financial and sexual crimes and also toxicity. Remember the venom of the scorpion sting. And that triple conjunction just puts the focus on financial and economic change, okay? And Saudi Arabia is considering allowing China to purchase using their currency rather than paying in US dollar. And traditionally, for the last, I don't know how many years, Saudi Arabia has sold its petroleum using the US dollar as the standard. So, them considering doing this is a big change. And it could have a lot of repercussions in the financial markets because of that. Mars and Pluto together are very primal, brutal forces, okay? And since it's in this conjunction is in Capricorn, Capricorn is about top down control, okay? And this is the last Mars Pluto conjunction in Capricorn, okay? The next in our lifetime. The next time they conjunct Pluto will be in Aquarius, okay? So this can be extremely powerful. And this can also come in the form of extra, control measures. And Eris is at 23 degrees of Aries. The people are really feeling that energy and pushing back. It's that resistance, taking to the streets for peaceful protest. And this has been happening certainly with what we saw in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, other parts of the world. Pushing back, the people pushing back against those extreme controls and mandates. So it can really be emphasized and re-emphasized at this time. Now, a positive part of the conjunction in Capricorn is giving focus on new goals and setting them, and the willpower to see them through, okay, the determination to get there. So you may want to see where this conjunction falls in your natal chart, and that could be a really great idea for your full moon ritual to focus on that area where this conjunction occurs, and then set the goals that you want to see happen in your life that are controlled by that part of your chart. There is a lot of wild energy building to the full moon and the equinox, okay? That Capricorn Saturn energy, people are really finding it, that top down control, very oppressive. And right now, governments are trying to assert even more control, okay? If you put a very positive spin on it, it can express great spiritual strength and courage of conviction, and having strong boundaries, and a great love for the betterment of humanity in general. This can be the spark to start a revolution from a perspective of love and the betterment of all humanity, and not just the benefit of the few, okay? As this alignment transitions out of Capricorn and into Pisces. Pisces is the sign of compassion and care for all. So remember that. Now, on the 13th of March, the sun was conjunct Neptune, okay? That energy also highlights the energies of the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, okay? It can be very intuitive and dreamy and creative, but it is this period of time for the next, little bit is also a good time for those of you who are experienced to get out of linear time and astral travel. It will be easier for you to get into that altered state where time and space do not exist. And it's a prime time for those of us who have that experience of being able to astral travel to visualize a more loving world and to kind of ascend and meet our higher selves, okay? Be the change that you want to see, okay? If you want to see a more loving world, then access that energy. And even one person changing the mindset from hate and feeling like a victim to asserting your power and approaching things from a higher frequency of love and setting boundaries, then that's even better, okay? The full moon will be at 27 degrees, 40 minutes of Virgo. And this is the 6th full moon at 27 degrees of a particular sign. For those of you who are into numerology, 27 represents completion. It will occur on the 18th of March at 12:17 a.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time and 7:17 p.m. in the UK. It will occur at 3:17 a.m. Eastern in the US. We still have a focus on your health, okay? Full moons tend to bring your feelings forward and bring them up to the surface. We can have very clear details linked to health, okay? Full moons also represent a completion or culmination or closure of a particular aspect of our lives. So you may want to see where 27 degrees of Virgo falls in your chart, or it can also shine a light on what we didn't know. And secrets may come to the front. And remember that the full moon occurs just 2 days before the equinox in Aries. The full moon still highlights that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. Jupiter is at 18 degrees of Neptune and conjunct the sun at 23 degrees of Pisces. And Neptune is at the midpoint between Jupiter and the sun. This is a very kind of, I'm going to put it mystical, magical time, and could be a great time for purification and detoxification ahead of the equinox. This is a great time to prepare yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, even your home, okay, to do that cleaning, to do that spring house cleaning, to do that fall cleaning, to just kind of shed the energies that have built up within inside your home. You really want to try to eat as clean as you can during this time. This conjunction will not occur in Pisces for another 166 years. Okay? So, during the full moon, Mercury is the 4th planet in Pisces. Okay? And it's creative, spiritual energy too. Okay? Neptune Pisces energy can raise the potential for water events, okay? And combine this with the full moon, we can see flooding, higher tides than normal, unusually high rainfall. But from a personal standpoint, it can make you kind of, you tell them, Daphne. From a personal standpoint, it can make you feel kind of like confused or foggy. It can also set the stage for toxicity or virus spreading through water. And let's all just say a prayer that doesn't happen. Going into April, it's all about the lifting of the veil and uncovering the secrets, uncovering deception, uncovering the lies. It's also people waking up and being able to see clearly. You know, people talk about a grand awakening, and it's starting to really happen, especially with media spin on both sides and the censorship of available information, and making it even harder for you to actually get to the truth. Now, with the moon being at 27 degrees of Virgo, it is trying to Pluto at 28 degrees of Capricorn. And there's going to be a lot of very strong feelings about anything to do with health issues, moving away from the framework of putting yourself in as a victim and embracing the fact that information is power. Remember that Virgo is the planet that is linked to natural medicine and finding healing from ancient wisdom. And that can be either through herbal medicine. I'm sorry, Daphne is like having a moment, and she's playing with her brother. This is encouraging you to either look at herbal medicine or I'm going to say like a way to detox your body through plant or herbal medicine. I drink dandelion root tea every morning, just a suggestion. But it can also be, you just going out and digging your toes into the grass or the dirt and hugging a tree, in whatever grounds you and keeps you centered. Because you got to remember that your connection and staying grounded, stress is a killer. If you can stay centered and grounded, then you tend to be able to just give the earth your stress, and she gives you back that boost to your immune system, your ability to fight back. Okay. So remember that. Now, on the shadow side of Virgo, Virgos are really good worry wards. They worry about everything. And you can really put yourself into a heightened state of anxiety during this period of time. So it's even more important for you to stay grounded and centered, particularly if you are a sun sign Virgo. Okay. Remember that if you attract the energy that you put out. So if you're sitting there locked down in fear and anxiety, then you're going to attract negative energy in, because that's in one of those lower frequencies. Raise your frequency up. Try and stay in the higher frequencies of positive thinking, of love, of compassion, things like that, to not attract in things that we are afraid of. And because you're kind of self-fulfilling, bringing in what you're afraid if you stay in those negative frequencies. Mercury is at 13 degrees of Pisces in conjunct Jupiter. And this is a really great time for taking on creative writing and poetry and thinking big for your future. Okay. It's also a great time for making sure your spiritual house is squared away. And if you've been struggling, like I have lately, with the spiritual component, like really feeling connected to the divine in some capacity, this is a great time to reinforce that and reconnect. Even if you do something just as simple as drawing down the moon, making full moon water, things of that nature, something to reconnect you with your spirituality if you are a magical practitioner especially. This is also a period of time for you to pay attention, because the divine may be sending you signals either through dreams, through that inner voice, and through signs. Okay, pay attention to what's going on around you. Put this down and actually tune in. We are so focused on, these, we are slaves to these freaking things, and you need to put them down and pay attention to what's actually happening in the world, energetically speaking. Now, Mars and Venus. Mars is at 10 degrees, Venus is at 13 degrees of Aquarius, and they are square to Uranus. So this is like revolutionary energy, a focus on freedom, human rights, social structure, and political structure. And the Mars-Uranus square is very rebellious. And it's also an indicator that we may have more earthquake and volcanic activity during this period of time. It's very unstable and eruptive energy. The Aries Equinox actually occurs on the 20th of March at 8:33 a.m. Pacific Daylight Saving Time and 4:33 p.m. in the UK. In the southern hemisphere, we are talking about the autumnal equinox. It will occur on Monday, March 23rd at 3:33 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So wherever you guys are, you can kind of figure out from that, okay? As it goes into the Aries equinox, remember that Aries is at the beginning of the zodiac. It's the zodiac new year, okay? So astrologically speaking, we are leading up into that energy for the next year, and it sets the tone for the next year. Now, Saturn at 20 degrees of Aquarius is square to the nodal axis at 25 degrees Taurus / Scorpio. This is indicative of further attempts of control, okay? And then the eruptions and the pushback of the people fighting against those top-down controls. Now, Uranus has the upper hand this year. I've talked about this before. Up until this year, Saturn had the upper hand. With the change in axis, now Uranus has the upper hand. With Uranus being stronger this year and in Taurus, it will be conjunct a solar eclipse that is coming on the 30th of April and the lunar eclipse on the 8th of November. Now remember, those of you in the US, November the 8th is the midterm elections, okay? Uranus is the planet of the future. Saturn is the planet of the past. Remember that. The revolutionary side of the equinox is re-emphasized by that ongoing square from Eris at 24 degrees Aries to Pluto at 28 degrees of Capricorn. This is just indicative of ongoing protests and demonstrations from people on the street. We had the trucker convoy in Canada, and now the Freedom Convoy in the US. You had demonstrations in New Zealand, Australia, Germany, France, all over the world about mandates. So it's the people finally awakening and stepping up and taking to the streets in peaceful protest. This is also an important T-square because Pluto is more tightly square to Haumea at 29 degrees 30 minutes of Libra, and the moon is within minutes of Haumea at 29:53 of Libra. And the moon is highlighting the importance and shining a light on Haumea's symbolism. And Haumea, if you remember, is a goddess of fertility, creative, regenerative energy, okay? Linked with nature and food production. We are going to be even more aware and concerned about our food and where our food supplies come from over the next year. And it's going to be evidenced by increasing inflation, disrupted food supplies, extreme earth events. Food is going to be less available than we have known it in the past. I have been telling you for I don't know how long to stash away shelf-stable food and staples like, flour, cornmeal, things of that nature. Put aside your, gluten-free if that's your thing. Put aside canned goods as you can. Invest in knowing where your food comes from. I recently invested in some like little hydroponic gardens for inside so that I can have a running supply of like herbs and lettuces and microgreens because they are very nutrient dense. And I've also got my little container garden going on my deck. And even though I live in a townhouse, I don't have a lot of soil. I can do container gardens, I can do hydroponics, and I can do things that way. So any way that you can supplement your food, I really encourage you to do that. at the equinox. Neptune is at the midpoint of the sun and Jupiter. This indicates a very mystical time. That creative spiritual energy is going to be a major part in building new earth. Many magical practitioners have been hearing the old gods and hearing them call us. I have to kind of go past the equinox and address a few things because I think they're relevant as we go into April. On March 31st, the sun and moon are both tightly conjunct Chiron at 12 degrees of Aries. This is an Aries new moon. It may, in some parts of the world, be the second new moon of the month. Now, this is known as a she moon. This is called a black moon by some people. In the Pacific U.S., March 31st will be the second new moon. Eastern U.S., there will be 2 new moons in April. Okay? So it all depends on where you are. This alignment is calling for a lot of healing. Humanity has 2 paths. One is very autocratic, technocratic, totalitarian, relying on AI, and is very dystopian. And it's becoming more and more and more evident. Like I said, that veil is being lifted. The other path is connected to the heart. And this is the will of millions of people to create a new earth energy, to have joy in sharing. It encourages you to not focus on what's wrong, but focus on the potential of what could repair, what could be. And in focusing on those more positive energies and that higher frequency energy, we can tackle it with sharing and collaboration with folks of a like mind. This can come in the form of getting to know your neighbors, to do like a community garden, for instance. If you've ever had a passion for natural medicine, this is a time to embrace it. If you ever have wanted to take that leap and homeschool, you might want to check into doing a small homeschooling thing for children around you. It's all about forming new social structures. And this can be really exciting, but scary at the same time, because for this to come to pass, the old structures need to die. And that can be it's terrifying. But having somebody control and know my every move, that's why I say I gotta get rid of that freaking thing, and not be so dependent on it. I'm gonna go back to an old flip phone or something, and smartphone be damned. We are the ones, like I said earlier, be the change that you want to see. If you are unhappy with the way things are unfolding in the world and you've had your eyes open to things that are going on, to the threat to having personal autonomy, then be part of the change you want to see. If you're okay having everything controlled for you, then May the gods and goddesses bless you. In addition, I've talked before about a drop in the sun and the earth's magnetic shields. And there are a lot more coronal mass ejections and solar flares reaching the earth. And there are a lot of what are called M-class and X-class solar storms. These all contain high frequency energy, and they are hitting the earth in a manner to burn off the darker, lower energy. This can also change humanity in the blink of an eye. This extra photonic light is bombarding our bodies, and our bodies are having a hard time keeping up. And the way to keep up with it, I mean, you may be feeling extremely tired, drained, fatigued, chronic migraines, additional health issues, inflammation, your joints. I told a friend of mine the other day that even my hair hurt because it was just such, but we had a big coronal mass ejection going on. And we're being called to a higher frequency from the universe. And our bodies are adjusting. Just embrace the change. Don't be fearful. Stop watching the BS on mainstream news on both sides and actually dig for information through like an engine like DuckDuckGo that does not censor what you're seeing on the internet. Be the change you want to see. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that I gave you enough information that you can get like the biggest magical bang out of your full moon and your equinox rituals. For those of you in the southern hemisphere, remember to be thankful for what the year brought you and to be thankful for what is to come. For those of you in the northern hemisphere, be thankful that we're coming out of winter, that we're going into the light, and embrace a new way of thinking. And be appreciative of what you have and not what you want. Miss what you want. Don't focus on that negative victimhood kind of mentality of what you're missing. Really decide what's important to you. At the end of the day, and having an iPhone is not important. What is important is your health, your family, your loved ones, your friends, your animals, in the home that you have. And with that, stay in those higher energies, focus on those higher energies, and you will have higher energy come to you. If you focus on those lower frequencies, you're going to attract the lower frequency stuff. So if you look at everything from a position of lack, you will be lacking in every part of your life. If you approach things through a lens of appreciation and love and thankfulness, you will be blessed in the same manner. Okay? With that, my friends, I hope you liked the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. It's all okay. And as I always say, my friends, merry we did meet, merry we will part until we merry meet again. Be well and walk in love and light, everybody. Bye.